Welcome to Still Untitled, the Adam Savage Project. I'm Will.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Norm.
Hey,
Good
I
afternoon.
did it right this time.
Yes.
We're still in your office here. This is day 2 of our long national nightmare. We're all holding knives.
We have knives against each other.
I've handed out some party favors, and they're both knives designed by my friend Bill Harsey.
I brought a knife to a sword fight. It looks like
It is. So yeah, this is my Kill Bill sword. We'll go over this in great detail.
Yeah, the Hattori
But
Hanzo.
this is a civilian model of the Yarborough, which is the knife that is what you get when you become a Green Beret, when you graduate from the Special Forces. And this is just a recent knife of Bill's. This is actually hand ground by Bill in his workshop. And when I found out you could buy such a thing, he sent me a link. I was like, oh my God, I must get it. So I did.
The Green Beret one is much more impressive.
This is made as a kind of an ultimate survival knife.
Right.
This is sort of like a keep around your house and take care of business knife.
Hold on. When you say take care of business, do you mean like chopping onions or stabbing intruders?
No, somewhere in between.
Okay.
Like, this
looks like it's flint
right
napped.
Here is something that Bill sent to me and gave to me. This is a napped blade. That's KNAPPED.
As the cavemen did.
As the cavemen did, except this is a piece of plate glass, and Mr. Harsey's teaching himself napping, and this is one of his blades. It's one of my favorite possessions.
That's a hard skill to learn. It
Yeah,
involves lots of bloody knuckles, I would think.
Totally.
The cavemen can do it.
Yeah.
You say that, but the cavemen had a lot more time.
Right. Yeah, they've got more time
motivation.
than I do.
Yeah, I mean, your napping ability is directly related to your survival.
I got the
ability.
other type of napping ability.
Yes, I'm really good at the other kind of napping. I'm an
master
expert,
nappers.
master
I have a ribbon. This is pro napper.
Number
I
one
can
napper?
fall asleep anywhere, anytime.
So that's Alan Shepard had that skill. That was an Alan Shepard skill.
Alan Shepard, the
The
astronaut.
astronaut. Yeah, he apparently was laying in Mercury. He was 1, right?
Yeah.
He was the first Mercury. It wasn't. They
Okay.
didn't number him that way, but he
Right.
was the first. And he was laying in the. And I'm probably telling the entirely wrong astronaut. It may have been Gus Grissom or one of the other guys, but one of the Mercury astronauts was actually in the cockpit or the capsule asleep during a countdown hold.
Wow.
Is
Wait,
the legend.
intentionally?
Intentionally.
I fell
Because
asleep.
he
No,
was-
they didn't let any narcoleptic astronauts go.
When we did skydiving for Mythbusters way back in season 1, I fell asleep in the plane on the way up.
Wow, that's a high level. Had you been skydiving before?
No, I've never done it before.
So you're getting ready to jump out of a plane for the first time.
And I was
But
like,
you're not afraid that when you wake up, you're not disoriented.
no, I'm always. I
You're
mean,
just sharp.
I'm not immediately sharp, but I just love napping. I love
I love
reading a
napping,
book in the
too.
afternoon, and I feel kind of tired,
Yeah.
and put the book down on my chest and fall asleep.
I heard
for
that's
40
the thing that
minutes.
you used to be able to do.
that I used to be able to do.
No, that I used to be able to do.
Yes.
Wait, where am I?
But you also choose not to do that when you fly because you want to be productive when you fly.
No, actually, I go back and forth. I let it happen if it's going to happen. I don't resist sleeping in order to be productive. And planes have such a somnambulic effect on me that I regularly sleep through the takeoff.
I do that too.
I take a window seat specifically for that reason.
Great.
When I fly to LA, I often wake up after we land, so the entire process has been invisible to me.
Because the most boring part of a flight is when you're in the seat and
This
everyone
is-
else is boarding and
Yes.
the plane isn't doing anything.
Yeah, I fall right. It was
no,
actually
no.
here's the thing: is I don't fall asleep then. It's the moment they close the door and the cabin pressurizes, my body's like, it's time to go to sleep now, and I go right to sleep.
See, I can never do
You
that.
hear
My
Jamie's
head always
voice
goes
and-
from side to side and thump, 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 and wakes me up immediately.
And I luckily this year losing 20 pounds has significantly decreased my snoring to almost nil now. So it's I used to be when I was 195, I'd be on a plane and I'd be going. That kind of thing, and I'd turn and people would be like, "It wasn't that bad."
That's
which
the kind of
course
thing
means it was
yeah.
really bad.
Yeah, you don't want to see that on YouTube.
No.
Let's. Honestly, at this point, I don't remember what we said we were going to talk
We
about.
were gonna
We're gonna
talk about
Star Wars.
No,
because
Star
we haven't
Wars.
talked about Star Wars enough.
I heard there was this movie called Star Wars.
At my father's memorial in 1999, I met a relative I hadn't seen in a long time, and I was just recently hired at that point on Episode 1, Star Wars Episode 1.
Oh,
And so my relative said, "So you're working on this film called Star Wars?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I heard you're working on Star Wars." And I said, "Yes." I'm super excited. And he goes, "Now, is this is it a film?" And I thought,
Oh,
"You're the
boy.
one." You're the one that somehow this has escaped. You're like the Pacific Islanders worshiping planes as gods. Somehow Star Wars has
The Russian.
Tell me about these
Yeah.
these Star Wars of yours.
these wars of stars.
Wow.
Well, so we talked about Star Wars on the podcast a few weeks ago. We talked about Disney purchasing Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
But then the big thing that happened now is that JJ Abrams of Lost, of
Alias.
Felicity, of Alias, of
Didn't he do a
the
Mission
Star
Impossible
Trek
movie?
reboot?
He did a ton of
He did-
TV shows that also never went anywhere.
Yeah.
With Bad Robot Productions.
Bad Robot
Yeah.
Productions.
The Star Trek reboot, which I went into that Star Trek reboot really, really skeptical, and I absolutely love it.
I saw it twice in the theater, something I almost never, ever,
Oh,
ever do.
It's a great movie.
And he has spawned a group of brilliant geniuses like Damon Lindelof.
Mhm.
I think of him as the a kind of the action movie Judd Apatow, right? of
Yeah.
television and
Yeah,
movies.
He has a series of people that aren't
Right.
man children. They're just
And
Creatives.
Abrams has been confirmed that he's going to direct Star Wars Episode 7.
yeah.
which when we did the podcast last, we gave our own
The dream.
predictions and our own hopes for who would direct the movie, and we tossed out all the usual names, but we never thought it could be JJ Abrams
Because he was already committed to something with star in the title.
Yes. What's very interesting is that I think that there might end up being some crossovers between the Star Trek universe and the Star Wars universe.
What do you wait? No,
Zachary Quinto?
No. I don't mean in terms of the narrative. I just
Okay.
mean in terms of hired performers. I'll
yeah.
wager that some of the people that he has always gone to, like actors like Greg Grunberg,
Yeah.
Well,
who
that's
show up
good
in
luck
every
charm.
one of his
He's good luck
in
charm.
every one of his projects, is going to make an appearance in
And-
the Star Wars
And
universe.
think
which is-
about the lens flare you could get on two
Oh,
suns
come
at Tatooine.
or two lightsabers hitting each other.
yeah. Oh my God.
I
what
think
about two double lightsabers?
for
I apologize.
for me the thing that is really exciting about this is that Abrams is a brilliant storyteller.
Mhm.
I mean, he has modeled himself since 14 on Spielberg and Lucas, and grown up inculcated with that. I think 8mm is an incredible sort of doctoral thesis on Spielbergian filmmaking, and I really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
And I can't wait to see
Super 8.
Super 8, sorry.
8
Not
millimeters.
8mm is the
Nick
borderline
Cage,
porn film,
the
Nick
snuff
Cage
film, yeah.
right? Yeah.
Another,
Sorry, Super 8.
It's like, wow. I didn't know JJ Abrams did 8mm.
He made a
So
movie about the
creepy.
love of filmmaking.
Yeah.
And you could tell he had fun making that.
Oh
film.
yeah, I mean, in a way, it felt like having grown up on Spielberg's films like he did. I think he's a couple years older than me, but having grown up on the same movies, it felt almost like if you took a bubblegum card set of Spielbergian tropes and put them together, even down to kids riding a
Yeah.
bicycle to rescue
Yeah.
somebody. I mean, all of those things were in there, and it felt so familiar and so great as a viewer.
Well, the thing for me was, what if the kids from ET were 5 years older? I
Right.
mean, it was those kids.
Right,
It could have been
right.
the same kid. It was wonderful.
I mean, and it's funny because I remember when Super 8 came out, there was a lot of complaints that it was derivative, and that they felt like it was derivative was the primary thing.
Yeah.
And I kept pointing out, and I don't think anyone can really deny that it's still also at the same time as being, I think, a terrific story and really well written and well directed. The directing of the kids, some of the best performances I've ever seen from kids are in that movie. Again, that doesn't necessarily translate to Star Wars, because hopefully in these new Star Wars movies there aren't any little children.
Oh. Yeah, I can't defend
So-
that. I was
so
going to
you-
say I got to
so-
do the contrarian thing,
So
but
you like Boba
Oh.
Fett?
So we should tell you now that you need to go do a Google search for Patton Oswalt time machine or something like I
Yeah.
would kill George Lucas with a shovel.
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt has a brilliant routine about meeting George Lucas somewhere in the 90s and stopping him from making episodes 1, 2, and 3.
the thing about episodes 1, 2, and 3 though is that if you show kids, I mean, your kids are
Yeah, my
probably
kids
well
grew up on
trained,
it.
but they're the right age to grow up on episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I have friends whose kids are the same age as, or a little bit younger than your kids, and
Yeah.
and like if you ask them which one they like better, it's the third one. They like episode 3.
Yeah. So yes, it's true. This is true what you say.
I mean, I think that you have to be in the right place at the right time to appreciate Star Wars, I think you have to be the right age for it.
And you know what? There'll be a whole generation of kids that just know the new trilogy.
Yeah.
Okay. So
7, 8, 9
now, and here's
as
this about
their
the new
trilogy.
trilogy, and here's where I think, to me, it gets exciting. And I'm just speculating here, but I imagine that that
The
Abrams,
Lindelof penned episode 7 script.
No. that Abrams could not pass up an opportunity to work with the actors that helped define his childhood, and I think he's going to find a place for Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and Mark Hamill in episode 7.
I think they have to.
They have to. They absolutely have to, and I want to see them. I want Han Solo back in a movie. I want that movie.
I want
in which
crotchety old Han Solo.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Millennium Falcon. I really feel like I know this in my bones that Abrams is working right now on a script where the only axiom is Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon have to be in this fucking thing.
It's a one-act play set in the Millennium Falcon.
Right, and you've got,
That's the Kevin Smith version.
Oh, right. My bad. The camera never moves.
Midi-chloridians.
What?
No.
I'm sorry, that's not a word I know.
But we know that JJ Abrams has a distinctive visual style, and we can identify it with a lot of different elements. Do you feel like, because he has a bag of tricks like every filmmaker does, and Spielberg has a big bag of tricks because he'll make 2 movies that look completely different, have different tones. But JJ Abrams movies are all kind of genre films so far. Mission Impossible, Star Trek,
they made that many films.
Super 8, right? Do you feel like I feel like he put a lot of himself into Star Trek, in terms of pulling his sci-fi bag of tricks. Star Wars has a very distinctive look and distinctive tone. Will he introduce the filmmaking style?
I think he certainly will, but remember that this is a Lucasfilm property, so
a Disney property.
Seriously, Disney property, but through Lucasfilm. So what he's going to have to tap into is all of the amazing artisans at Lucasfilm who have all worked on these movies over just 3 decades.
30 years.
Sometimes almost 4 decades by the time episode 7 comes out.
Yeah.
And these are people really deeply inculcated with that look and the feel of that universe. And I think if he's, how do I put this? I think of course he's going to go for the things that he knows, but he's also going to seek to show us something new and a facet of it that is new.
Well, the thing that he did with the Trek movie, and we're going to spoil the Trek movie if you haven't seen it, because I'm the first remake, not Into Darkness, which we haven't seen yet. I mean, although if you want to bring it by, we're available. The thing that he did was,
brought it by, we still wouldn't spoil it.
No, we still wouldn't spoil it. Exactly.
May 17th.
I know what I'm doing on May 17th.
Actually, May 15th now if you want to watch an IMAX.
Perfect. It's my birthday. Hey, I know what I want for my birthday now, guys. The thing that he did was he took the essence of Trek and the stuff that I loved about Trek. The relationship between Kirk and Spock and McCoy, the kind of clean, sterile future, the future that I want to believe in, not the dirty future that we ended up getting. And he kept the essence of that stuff and told a really core Trek story, and then retconned the entire universe, retconned the whole history of the good and the bad, got rid of it all.
Yep.
And paid homage to the old while making something that's completely new.
Yeah.
Which I mean, that is such a hard thing to do, and it happens so infrequently with reboots and remakes.
Great thing with the Orsi and
the other
script.
The other thing that he did, the other thing that he's done, and that I think defines him as a creative is casting is almost always completely spot on.
I mean, Chris Pine, who knew that Chris Pine could do that?
Chris Pine owns Kirk.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is like Kirk was always
without being parody.
Without being parody and without changing what you think of Shatner's great Kirk.
Yeah.
I mean, because Shatner is phenomenal as Kirk.
It would have been hard, but I mean, that could have been parody so
Spock
easily.
And Scotty, the actor that
Bones.
plays Scotty,
Simon Pegg.
Yeah.
Bones.
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban is just like one of these,
And he is
undersung geniuses,
and not someone who you would in a million years cast in that role.
Yeah.
What else had he done
Bones.
before that?
Riders of Rohan. He was one
He
of
was
the
in Lord of the
prince
Rings.
from Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Wow.
He was
the guy with the long hair?
Yes, and he was the other hitman in the second Bourne film,
movie.
the Russian
Yeah.
hitman in the second Bourne
Wow.
movie. Oh, I know. When you look at Carl Urban's IMDb, you're like, I cannot believe that's all the same.
And you saw Dredd, right? Or have you not seen Dredd?
I have not
yet?
seen
Oh, you
Dredd.
should see Dredd. He's really good in Dredd.
So I mean,
Norm doesn't like
Carl
Dredd,
Urban is one of these like rare gems. Like I think James Purefoy is another one who's been in Spartacus or Rome.
Rome, and he
played Blacksmith's Harry in Knight's Tale, which is when I first became aware of him. But he's like one of these great actors that you don't know about, but directors do, and they put him in key roles to do great stuff.
A Knight's Tale, the Heath Ledger music video. That's a fantastic movie. I absolutely love it. Yeah,
such a great movie.
Yeah.
So Abrams is going to cast the spit out of that, and I'm really excited about that.
I'm really excited about his collaborators that he works with now getting their hands on the
source material.
We're gonna get some more Chewbacca,
but also like Michael Giacchino, who does all his music for all the Abrams stuff.
Yeah,
when he'll get to play with John Williams' score and introduce his own themes.
Maybe I wonder if they'll insist that he use John Williams since John Williams scored all the others. It's a good question.
I think these are the kind of things that.
But at the same time, I read this long article about Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, in the Hollywood Reporter.
Flying, that beautiful article, flying to L.A. and talking to Abrams for a few hours and wondering what happens in that room, right?
And it boils down to, you must make this movie,
right? And then you imagine that turn where he realizes that this is the project he wants to do. And I think I have to imagine that it's about autonomy. It's really about autonomy. Like, you can make this movie the way you want to make this movie because we think you will do it justice, and you will have this incredible, rich treasure trove of artisans to work on it who are all chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
To work on it. I mean, it's a perfect storm. I'm really excited about this.
And when you get a chance, I mean, obviously, it's a chance that's not like anything we've ever had. But when you're presented with that kind of a choice, whether it's for your career, your personal life, whatever, like you literally, there's a branch at that point in your life, and it goes one of two ways, right?
Right.
And there's an alternate universe version of you that went the other way, and that has a whole different set of consequences. But you have to wonder. Like, I don't see how you can pass that up if you're JJ Abrams.
That's the thing that worries me is it sounds like maybe, he met with the screenwriters, they all brainstormed and he loved the story, but he seems like partially he chose to do this because he knew that it's an opportunity, once in a lifetime, once in a generation. He wanted to take this.
Yeah, but I've never met him and I don't know him on any kind of personal level, but I would imagine that Abrams is someone who has built his career, as he knows, on having a large amount of control over his projects and putting his stamp on them. And his stamp is the thing that has allowed his career to progress to where it is, and that he wouldn't accept a project where that was compromised, even if it's a chance of a lifetime.
Right? Yeah, and that's the hard thing to do.
And
I would imagine.
The story of when he chose to do Star Trek was that originally it was just this production company. He read the script, and then he said to his wife, I can't not make this movie. Having read the script, this is a movie I would feel like I don't want anyone else making.
Yeah,
right.
So I feel like hopefully it's something similar with this.
Yeah, I have to imagine that that's the case. Obviously, every last bit of this is speculation, but I'm a very excited Star Wars fan.
2015.
2015.
Oh, it's such a long time from now.
It's gonna be quite a summer.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I'm. Nothing after the last run of movies. I was there at midnight on opening night for episode 1, and I walked out thinking, the pod racing scene was okay. It was pretty. I just hope.
Couldn't be any worse.
Oh, yeah, it could be.
Maybe that's George Lucas's greatest contribution. He reset the bar.
Okay. What do you do with Mark Hamill? I love Mark Hamill. He's a great voice actor. An amazing voice actor. I was going to just
compliment him on his Joker, on his seminal and vital Joker.
He is the best Joker
ever.
Well, outside of The Departed.
For the medium, sure.
I mean, I hope they just give him a CGI Luke and put him in a holocron or something. Call it a day.
No, they'll give him. I think we'll be well satisfied.
How do you solve the Mark Hamill problem, Adam?
Well, you tell him.
I think the Carrie Fisher problem might be.
Well, the Carrie Fisher. Fair enough. You make her a nun and you put her in an old station wagon. You drive down the road.
I love Carrie Fisher so much.
Oh, okay. And on that note, We'll see you guys next week with
See
another
you next
episode.
week.
Questions to podcast@test.com.
Yes.
Subject line questions for Adam, or else I don't get them filtered into the right slot, and we will never see them. Also, reviews, feedback, ratings, likes on YouTube. Norm is holding a knife and is going to stab someone if we don't get enough reviews. That is a really sharp knife, Norman Chan. We love getting feedback, positive or negative. So please leave feedback on iTunes, YouTube, wherever you might find us, or in the comments below. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Note.